You're listening to the Ska Mailman podcast, and this week is extra special. We have Parker Jacobs from GOGO13, the Aquabats, Yo Gabba Gabba, Aquabats Super Show. He worked for Paul Frank Industries. A really cool dude, amazing artist. You've absolutely seen his art if you've paid any attention to Yo Gabba Gabba or the Aquabats. He's one of the founders of the Aquabats. He's Parker Jacobs. He's one of the Jacobs. He's the professor. He created it. We get into all of it. He's a really fun guy. Loved hanging out with him. We did this episode in his office, so if you're not watching the video, you're missing out. You got to check it out on YouTube or Spotify and see his office space. It was so cool. Walls covered, full of signed stuff, memorabilia of the Aquabats, Real Big Fish, Madness, Yo Gabba Gabba, all sorts of stuff. And we did the whole thing in front of a giant walk-around puppet, which was just incredible. I love Parker's artwork, love everything he does. He was a really great hang. We were becoming pretty cool friends, so hopefully we get some more from him in the future. But in the meantime, check out the very first episode we have with Parker Jacobs on the Ska Mailman podcast.
The Ska Mailman, step up to the mic, yeah. The Ska Mailman, we're talking music and life, and the Ska Mailman, we're hanging with our friends. The Ska Mailman, listen again and again, yeah. This has got to be the best podcast I've heard all week. I heard from the mailman.
He was talking music with people because he's a big music dude.
Yeah.
He was talking about being a Let's Go Bowling fan. I was like,
really?
You like ska?
Oh, whoa.
I remember that way back when.
Yeah, that's funny. I have a weird Let's Go Bowling connection. And that's my high school band director. He knew that I was in ska. I played in ska bands. And I had to leave band camp to go do a performance with my band.
Yeah.
And the only reason we got away with it was because it was like a benefit show for the Idaho Meth Project. And so he was like, okay, well, it's for a good cause and everything. And then after that, he was like, found out that we were in a ska band, and he was from Fresno. And he was like, you ever heard of Let's Go Bowling? And I was like, no. And at that time, I hadn't. He's like, oh, I played guitar with them for like 2 weeks. Like, I was just like a fill-in guy. And then I went and like looked him up, and I was like, Let's Go Bowling rules. They're the best.
Oh, yeah.
I was listening to them this week.
We, gosh, I owe a lot to them, actually.
Really?
It was one of those things that, like, I think it's because they didn't have a real dynamic frontman.
Yeah.
That they didn't, they were kind of like, we're all musicians, and we all kind of, we all harmonize, and we all kind of sing. I think, like, it was one of the things we were always wondering, like, why weren't they like the forefront when the ska boom hit?
They should have been way bigger, because they were like early on too, right? Early 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If not late 80s, like 89.
Yeah, because I think that one album that I really like is like their live one. That's live from like the Lanes or whatever.
Yeah.
And they do that Bugs Bunny song, Hair Tonic. And I was like, that's a perfect ska song. Oh. Like, it lends itself so well to that. I loved all of it.
Yeah, they're great.
All right, I'm going to do an intro. I'm going to leave this in, though. Welcome to the Ska Mailman podcast. I'm your host, Adam, the Ska Mailman Wallace. We're here in Parker Jacobs' office with, we just said it, Parker Jacobs. You know him from GOGO13.
Hello.
Yo Gabba Gabba, the Aquabats. Ska historian.
Yeah. Ska relic.
And now that you're over here closer to me, I can tell you that I know how to play Exploded on the guitar. So if you ever need a backup, I can play Exploded.
We'll use you. Let's do it.
But no, let's talk ska, right? I mean, you're big into it.
Yeah. All right. Gosh.
I don't even know where to start, because you have such I do think you are in a very integral part of the scene. I'll give you all the compliments if you can take them.
Okay. All right. Bring it.
But like, when I first started my band, Lab Rats, I started it in 2020 because I had 2 little kids, and I wanted to play in a ska band, and I hadn't played in a ska band in like 6 years at that point. And I didn't really have time to like go and play with a bunch of musicians, and it was 2020. We're all cooped up inside. So I was like, you know what? I have this really fun idea for a band, and I'll just do it all myself. Like, and it'll just be a one-man band kind of thing. But all of the inspiration through the whole thing was the Aquabats, right? It was because I have the lab coat. I do like sciencey based things.
But a one-man Aquabat show, it's amazing, dude. I just love, you got an alien come out in the crowd and dancing. You had like the chemicals and everything, and you had the change, amazing. And the finding the shark thing.
Yeah, that was fun.
Anyways, I for the audience, full endorse the Lab Rats. Super fun. Super
that means a ton. I tried really hard to bring that like live show, like Aquabats show energy. But it's kind of based off too of Motley Crue, weirdly.
Oh yeah.
In their book The Dirt, they talk about early on playing like the Sunset Strip, they wanted to bring an arena feel show to small clubs, and so they would have their own drum riser, and they would have like pyrotechnics and stuff that were just throwing like not real pyrotechnics, like confetti or whatever, trying to make it feel big. And so I was trying to combine that with when I've seen the Aquabats live, and they're throwing out pizza slices and having kids surfing on them, and they got villains and heroes all coming out and fighting and stuff. So I was like, how can I combine the two together? And that's what Lab Rats was. But really early on, Aquabats was like the biggest inspiration, but I was looking for people who would do like logos for me or art for me and stuff. And I was just going to like Reddit, going to like the graphic design subreddit and stuff like that. And all of my prompts were like, look at Parker Jacobs' work. Like that's the aesthetic I'm going for.
Awesome.
I was telling them like 50s and 60s sci-fi B movies plus surf rock plus this, and it was all just like, just look at Parker stuff and try to get something from that. And so I got a few things that like were pretty good, and I kind of worked with, and the one I have now is from Chopsy, who's a local guy here, Ryan, and he's a big ska fan. So as soon as I was like, Parker Jacobs, he was like, I got you, I can do that. And so he made, the little amoeba and everything. So really a big inspiration for what I'm trying to do, and the look of it has come from your artwork. So the fact that you endorse it is very, very big for me, so I appreciate it.
Great.
But so let's talk about kind of your involvement with the Aquabats leading up to like forming GOGO13.
Okay. Yeah, well, GOGO13 was first.
Okay.
I don't know if you knew that. But
I kind of figured, because I just recently learned that you wrote Idiot Box, right?
Yeah. Which
Which is really funny, because Idiot Box is always my example song for ska.
Oh, good.
Like it's Idiot Box and Trendy. Like Real Big Fish. Like when people go like, what's ska? I'm like, check this out, because I think it has the best horn line. It's, super high energy, and then it's just fun and like whimsical, and it's that like goofy third wave that like I love so much. So Idiot Box, yeah, because I did a video, like I'd consider it like my first TikTok before TikTok was really around, where I just had all sorts of checkered stuff on, and it was like, hi, my name's Scott, and it's like, did you say ska? No, I said Scott, and then it cuts to yeah. So
right.
Tell me about so GOGO13 was first. So yeah, just tell me about forming GOGO13.
Yeah. Well, so yeah. Yeah, I told you before we started recording that I had moved from California to St. George, Utah. It was my late teens. My parents moved. I think it was the riots, the LA riots happened, and people were like, we're getting out of California. And so they went to Utah, but I was at the time super into the ska scene there, because it was just booming.
Yeah.
Or early 90s, right?
Yeah.
It was amazing. And I had a bunch of friends there, and my family, well, they went, and then I kept coming down to California, and I kept staying with friends. Scott Schultz from Yo Gabba Gabba.
Yeah.
I kept staying at his house, and my stepdad said something like, you keep going to California, why don't you just move there? And I was like, okay, I'm so glad you said that. So I roommated. I moved in. I moved out of Utah, and then in with Christian, my brother, who and Scott, and a bunch of cousins and friends, and in this big house, and they were working and trying to earn money, and I was just wanted to go to ska shows. That's all I wanted to do, and the only way I learned I could make money was like by making flyers.
Okay. Yeah.
So, because I had this, cartoony art talent or whatever, and so seriously, I would just make enough money to like pay for my tickets to the shows, and like,
yeah,
and then and pay for rent, my portion of rent, and then hopefully eat. Like,
But that
it was
wasn't
bad.
Like you're focused on going to ska shows.
That was my thing. And then my mom was like, "Look, you're still a kid. Why don't you just move back for another year and we'll set you up in school and you will, just come back." And so I came back reluctantly to the new place in in St. George, Utah, and which was a boom town. A lot of people, all of my friends had moved in from other areas. They were new people. And one of them was Dustin Blad, who moved in from Las Vegas, who we were all ska fans that we met at like these like ska shows that never happened. Like in northern Utah, like Provo and in Salt Lake, there was a huge scene there. There's tight bands, Insatiable, Swim Herschel Swim, and Stretch Armstrong. They had a huge scene, even better than the Orange County scene, I think. Like, or it started earlier, like late 80s, early 90s, and those bands were supposed to come through to St. George, which is a total different place. It's like desert, Red Rock, like, and we kept like going to shows where like, Swim Herschel Swim was supposed to play, but they didn't show up. You know what I mean? Yeah. So then I made friends that way. That you like ska? Okay, and that's what we did because you didn't have mobile phones, right? So you're like you're getting each other's numbers and like, we're friends now, and so it was one of those things that I don't know if it was a battle of the bands, but my younger brother Tyler was like, I'm going to start a ska band. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah,
and as it worked out, like he was going to play keyboards. He couldn't really play keyboards, but, but
when you have the will to be in a band, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, and then Dustin and I showed up and he was like, "You're going to sing?" I thought I was going to sing. All right, we're both going to sing, okay? And so that was kind of the thing, and it was. I remember Tyler going, "Well, I know some guys that play, like, I know two guys, they're kind of like hippie dudes, or, they're into like Pearl Jam and stuff," and which we were too. We loved all sorts of music, sure. but I'm like, get them. They're gonna be in our band, and it was so fun trying to like teach them what ska was, and people didn't get it. Like, I first played the Specials, then I gave them Desmond Decker and stuff like that, and they're like, I don't get this. It's like I'm the Cure, but I'm sort of happy. Like you couldn't get the Special, so I'm like, oh, duh. Gave them Operation Ivy, and then they got it. Like, they're okay. We're in. Let's do that. So we for a short 6 months or something like that, we were able to play a lot of shows. We played in California with Real Big Fish and bands like that. We played locally in the area, and then we also recorded an EP that we were never able to release at an actual studio. We dumped the money in. We did the studio, and my older brother Christian saw what we were doing, and I don't think he never was the kind of guy that's like, "Oh, I want to do that too," because he's the older brother, right? So he and. Backing up, when I was roommates with him in California, he was starting a band there, but it was like serious music. Like, it was like Galaxy 500, it was serious. It was heartfelt stuff. Okay. So Christian was kind of torn between two bands, and then a bunch of buddies got together and were like, "Hey, well, let's do a ska band," and so. They started up with an idea. The name suggestion was my suggestion, was Aquabats. And it was funny to find out. What did they call it? I remember like hearing my mom tell the story. Yeah. Okay, they started a band. It's kind of like your music, but they're wearing these weird helmets that have these like these widow peaks and these like Roman soldier kind of ear flap things. And I'm like, what do they call the band? And he's like, it's the Aquabats. I'm like, I do it. That was at a GOGO13 practice.
Yeah.
We were sitting around. We were like right before practice. We were eating Taco Bell or something, and I was talking to my younger brother Tyler. I was like, okay, you've got an astronaut, and you've got an aquanaut, and you have an acrobat. Yeah. But how come you don't have an aquabat? And then Tyler was like drinking Dr. Pepper or something. He laughed, it snorted out his nose. Yeah. And it was one of those things that like, oh, that's a good word. I just invented something, you know? And then I tried it on Christian later when he was trying to, he's like, I want to do a band kind of like he was trying to go for a Spike Jones kind of, like a modern Spike Jones kind of a thing with a whole bunch of wacky sounds and weird things. And he's like, I was trying to think of like the dingbats, but that's already been taken. And then I went, Aquabats, that's it. And then, but then he never said, you're right, little brother. Right. Nope, I had to find out later.
He had to play
cool. So then when we were touring, like we came down and played shows. I played a couple of shows with the Aquabats as a member, you know, with the headgear and everything. And then I think it was on my third show with the Aquabats as a member of the Aquabats. Christian was like, he took a Sharpie marker and drew it on my face. And it was one of those things that was like, can you do that? You know what I mean? Which we ended up going crazy with the Sharpie markers. But yeah, he's like, you're the professor from now on. Yeah. And I think maybe that was because like I did a percussion thing. Okay. And it was a bunch of buddies, and it was one of those things where like they'd all show up and Boyd, Catboy, would have a stack of helmets and be like, okay, you wear a helmet, you wear a helmet, you know, okay, now we're Aquabats, and we'd play in kitchens or living rooms or, you know, just backyards. Right. It was like all sort of weird places. But I think why he liked having me a part of it was both Christian and I were child actors and performers. We'd both done stage and you know, movies and stuff, and we knew that there was a performance that you need to do. You're not just playing music, right? And so a lot of the early guys were kind of just like looking at their instruments, trying to get it right, and Christian and I would tell jokes in between songs, and so it kind of became a thing. So the professor, like he created the professor, saying I created the Aquabats, which is kind of funny.
That is funny, yeah.
So
that's so cool.
So yeah, and then you know I ended up serving a mission for my church. GOGO13 broke up, and we you know kind of did that thing, and that was when the Aquabats broke. Like
so you were off on a mission.
And I come back 2 years later. Yeah. And it was funny. Right before we left, we played a show that it was kind of our last gig, and the drummer for the Killers met his wife at our show, which is kind of rad. But I had a bag of money, I had a recording. Yeah. It was I still have it, like a big reel to reel. It was it wasn't even on DAT tape. It was like on a big audio reel, and I had a disc with the graphic art on it. And I pretty much handed it to Christian. I said, dude, make my band happen. Like, make our album happen. We'll call it Horchata Records. Okay. And like, it's my label. So that was, Horchata was whatever was like my idea. Okay. But it ended up, during the course of those 2 years, the Aquabats kind of blew up. They were, you know, ska got big, came out of darkness. People were like, what is this thing? It was the next big thing.
So was that Return that you're talking about?
Yeah, Return of the Aquabats. Yeah, that came out while I was gone. Okay. And then when I came back, it was a whole different thing. And I remember Christian going, oh, well, you know, your GOGO13 album, like, I heard it. I think maybe we should, like, take it back in the studio, remix it, like, add some more horns here and there. And we never got to that point. Because from that point, it was like, I'm just gonna help the Aquabats.
Well, yeah,
I went on like straight from the mission, like going on tour with them.
Whoa.
And it was amazing.
What a wild thing to come home to.
Yeah, and Christian wasn't exactly like the really into ska music that much. He liked Madness and the Specials and stuff, but he was more into, more into punk, more into hardcore stuff.
Yeah.
We were all raised like new wave. We don't give new wave the credit that it deserves.
Well, I know that you guys are big like Cure fans because every year there's like the Cure show.
Yep.
With the big
the Aquabats tribute to the Cure, which is amazing, which I think is so good, and I can brag because it's kind of my band and kind of not my band.
Sure.
But like it just really shows their musicianship when you strip away all the antics and the floating pie slices and pizza slices and all the monsters, and then you just hear how good they can really play. It's like Christian's got a really great band. The Aquabats are amazing. And so anyways, what was I saying? So we were raised by a lot of new wave. I think you got to give credit to Oingo Boingo. That was Christian's favorite band when we were kids. In 1984, when I think Only a Lad came out, they became my favorite band. And
it's a great record.
But by that time, Big Brother was like, oh, they sold out, dude. They're sellouts because they went to a major label. Right? But that Oingo Boingo, IRS Records, of course Madness, and those bands were all really influential on me, and I never made that connection that my favorite music out of new wave was actually ska, or ska-ish, right?
Yeah, because Oingo Boingo had a ton of ska influence.
Yeah.
And then even going from like John Avila, producing Turn the Radio Off.
Oh gosh, I was so jealous when I found out that he produced Real Big Fish's album, and having seen Real Big Fish get big. First time I saw them, Aaron wasn't the singer. They had another guy singing.
Oh, it was way back then.
Yeah, and Scott wasn't in the band. And
that was like after the Scholars then.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And then and of course, the guys from Scholars. One of them was our cameraman, Yo Gabba Gabba.
Okay. No way.
And of course, we have a lot of weird connections there.
That's great.
But of course Scott Kloffenstein, which I'll brag on Scott because you're a Real Big Fish fan.
Huge,
so Scott was my little brother's best friend in junior high.
I think I know where you're going with it because I interviewed Scott last year.
Really? Oh yeah.
And he talked about taking your sister to prom.
Oh, he did? No, I wasn't going to say that.
He said he was at the Jacobs household a lot.
He was. He was
friends with Tyler.
He was like, the extra family member.
Yeah.
If we were like a sitcom, he'd be like the Jenny Piccolo or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, he talked about that a lot, and then he said he had no one to take him to prom. And that your older sister was like, I'll take you to prom. And he was like, I saw her on TV and now I'm going to prom with her.
That's so rad. That's funny. I forgot that story. But what we used to do is like, we used to go and, Christian's like 4 years older than me, almost 4 years older than me. And Tyler and I were a year and a half apart. So we were like twins.
Oh, yeah.
We were really close. And so if I hung out with Scott and Tyler all the time, probably more than I would like to. And then we were like, let's go sneak downstairs into Christian's office because he was out like skateboarding. He was in the skate scene kind of with, but like I'm going to Mark Gonzalez's house. I'm going to Tony Hawk's place. Like big skaters.
Wow, that's crazy.
And which to me was crazy. But we go sneak in his office and pull out Fishbone's first EP.
Yeah.
And I remember playing that with Scott and like turning him on to that. I don't know if I did or not, but I remember going, dude, you got to listen to this. Or, The Clash. I kind of lumped them together, even though I hadn't made that ska connection yet. Right. I didn't know that Fishbone was ska.
Right.
But they were like, you got to know.
And the same with The Clash. They had so much ska and reggae influence.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I didn't know what that connection was until like later. And once I did that, then I was like, dude.
Yeah.
Sign me up. I'm on, like, this is me. This is my thing. But I just remember that Scott, when it came to they graduated from junior high, Tyler was going to go to Brea High School, but then Scott was going to go to like some
Like a performing arts
school, and he was like going to learn the trumpet, and I just remember like I remember being so bummed on him, like, what are you going to do that for? Like what, you're going to sound like Fishbone? You want to sound like Fishbone, so you're not going to high school? Like, nobody sounds like that's old stuff, you know what I mean? Right? It was like 1990, and that album was like 6 years prior. Right? It's super old, right? But so my point is that after all of that, Scott became, really hit it with Real Big Fish, and I'm so proud of him that he was able to like have a dream and go, this is what I'm doing, even at the sacrifice of like his best friend in high school.
Oh, wow. That's super interesting. But I mean, it's one of those things though, where like at that time, you're probably not thinking like, oh, we're going to do this big thing and it's going to get big and we're going to be able to live off it.
Of course not.
And then just to have it pretty shortly after that be like, yeah, Scott, just like he does music for a living. Yeah. You're doing art for a living.
Right. Totally. Never thought.
Yeah. So. It's just one of those like magical things. Like just think like, I don't know. That's just wild to be put in that space and like see that and then go, and then you made it your life. Like it's the coolest.
And I think one of the things that was cool is like coming from back from my mission and then being on tour with the Toasters.
Okay.
And like Aquabats are playing Idiot Box.
Yeah.
and I'm like, I wrote that song, and you're the Toasters. I love you guys. It was so funny, like, because we were just, excited kids, and the Toasters are so amazing, and they're still playing stuff, but they're a different vibe. They were like New York dudes.
Yeah, well, and they're like really traditional.
And I remember like I was like being on the side of the theaters, and I stepped on like one of the guys' shoes, and he's like, we're from New York. We kill people for less for stepping on their shoes. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then like later on the tour, I stepped on his shoe again, and totally accident. Totally, I'm so sorry. Don't kill me. And anyways, but they were great, and it's one thing that was really fun with the Aquabats though is that you had all these people that were, this is how we do things, and for like the Toasters, like they kind of said this is the standard two-tone army, right? And then we had like the Ska Robot Army making fun of it, right? Yeah. But we had this thing where we were always kind of winning people over, Right. We didn't know if they liked us, and then Bucket Rob Hingley, he sent us a picture after the tour of his son wearing the get up, the helmet and the mask and everything, and it was like, yeah, we won him. We won him over.
So great.
And they were great to us.
Well, and that's kind of like another thing. I mean, I've noticed that, and I took that from the Aquabats, and I also took it from a newer band called Hans Gruber and the Diehards.
Yeah.
And they're friends of mine, and it's kind of the same thing where their show is like really crazy and chaotic. But I've never been in the same room where they're playing a show and watch people who had never seen them before leave like thinking it was bad. Everybody got sold on it in the middle, like during the show. And I felt that with like early Aquabats stuff, and that's kind of like my thing that I'm trying to do with Lab Rats now too. Is like, if people don't know me, that's fine. I'm gonna make you have a good time through the show to where at the end of it you're like, oh, Lab Rats is really fun. Like I'm trying to do that same kind of thing. So
good.
I totally
and I hope you do. That's one thing I really have always loved about the ska thing.
Yeah.
Was winning people over that think you're like a weirdo or think you're nuts or think you're whatever.
Well, and even if you're not doing it to like the same level of like dressing up in these big costumes and doing a big stage show, is that it's just so danceable, and you can't deny that. Like I've seen so many like punk dudes going in like arms folded, like watching this ska band, and then like a song and a half in, they're
jumping around.
They're going, and then eventually you can't not move to it. So ska is a genre that like, it gets its hate for sure, but I don't think anyone who's ever been in the same room watching it at the end of the night is like, well, that wasn't a little bit fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Right. And we had so many moments of that on tour with the Aquabats. It was just so much fun.
Yeah.
So
It's show day, so I'm going home, I'm getting out of my uniform and into my show fit. Check for my phone, wallet, keys, and of course, my Eargasm earplugs. I never go to a show without them. They come in this convenient carrying case and go easily in your ear. Now you have high quality sound at every show you go to. So head over to eargasm.com to get yours and use promo code MAILMAN10 for 10% off your next order. That's eargasm.com, promo code MAILMAN10 for 10% off your next order.
So, I mean, for your listeners, I'm the professor, right? And the Aquabats are this crack team of superheroes that were, given their powers by me.
Yeah.
So I would come out and I would introduce them. I used to tell this story. I'm the professor and blah, blah, blah. And I'd bring them out and then I would go run off stage and then I would go get in a magic chicken costume or something. And then I'd throw out chicken and then I'd come back and I would sing with the band. And then I would run off stage and then I would be the powdered milkman and they'd set me on fire and throw me in the audience and the audience would beat me up. And and then I'd run, go back and then put the professor costume on and okay. And then we're going to have a tarantula song. So I got to go run off stage and hoist the tarantula that would come down. And it was so much fun though. And now, over the years, the Aquabats have become like a really well-oiled machine.
Totally.
And they kind of don't need me to do the backstage or even when I started like working a full-time job because you can only do that for so long before you need a full-time job. But, they got like real big, muscular guys to be, imposing villains, and I come out there, hey, I'm a pirate and I'm going to attack you. It doesn't, it doesn't hit as well unless you have like a real cool looking guy. And I get that. So,
and that does, I do have a question that was actually given to me by,
okay.
No, you're good. And because I told him, because we finished our interview and I said, I'm going over to Parker's house, Dr. Parker. And he was like, I want to know, how does one become a villain in an Aquabat show? Is there an audition process? You just got to know somebody? Like, how does it work?
You just got to know somebody. I guess you got to like, it used to be if you toured with the Aquabats, right? So the Real Big Fish guys, they would all do it regularly. There's this one tour, I think it was Real Big Fish and Cars Flowers, they're all the Maroon 5 guys.
Oh yeah, right.
So you think about how like Super Bowl Maroon 5 guys are,
right?
But I know them from like, here, put on this wrestling mask. We're gonna go get beat up. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was kind of fun doing that. It really is. It's like, who do you know? Hey, come here. We need you. Come here. You want to be a monster?
It's just so exciting. Like fresh every night.
Yeah. And that was one thing on tour. Like, we handled every show like it was an episode of a TV show. Right. So we tried to continue the thing and in the set sometimes the Aquabats didn't know. They're like, okay, we're gonna have a fight here in the set. Parker come up with something. Like, and so then I would go find something and I would get a big glove and take duct tape and go, I'm Zingor Z, the super guy. I would like make up things. Or like sometimes, like one time I got a lady that she was a fire dancer, snake charmer, like a snake, like, and I'm like, let's have her come out. So she had this whole like weird bikini, like it was like like Tila from Master of the Universe, kind of He-Man kind of costume. And she had this this skull candle with a fire thing on it. She's doing this fire dance with an albino boa constrictor. Whoa. And the girls were like, what are we gonna do? And I was just laughing backstage. They had no idea. They thought I was coming out in a monster costume. But like, anyhow, so rad. They figured it out. They decided to woo her and hypnotize her with music to get her off stage. But that was what I loved. I loved that crazy chaos. And here I was coming back from a mission in West Virginia out in the sticks. And then going from that to like, being reverent, holy man of God to like to like being on tour, and I remember like I was sent out to go pick up some things they were going to throw into the audience, and I remember going like, I think he's nuts. I think Christian's nuts. He asked me to do all this weird stuff, and I remember going to Boyd, Catboy, and going, okay, Chris just asked me to like, get a bunch of soda and like a live octopus and like, which we did. We ended up throwing out an octopus.
Okay.
Anyways, but like I just remember like going like, help me, can you this is kind of crazy, right? Like, is this okay? Like, we're gonna throw this on the audience, we're gonna and Boyd said something like, oh, I hope you got watermelon, because when you throw watermelon on the crowd, it smells so nice on stage. And I was like, no. But we just, I don't know, it was so much crazy, and so many stories that are like not your run-of-the-mill stories. I wish we could just make a movie of behind the scenes of the Aquabats, because like, I mean, we ended up getting our own TV show made, and that was awesome. But the behind the scenes real life stories were even crazier. Like,
well, and I've seen the like that VHS tape that's like, what is it, Aqua Cadet Eyes Only, and it's like 40 minutes of like really early day kind of stuff, and that's just what was like captured on video. And that stuff seemed crazy. So all the stuff, I mean, and this is that point in the 90s where it's like you're not pulling out a phone and recording it. Even like in the 2000s with like a Razor phone, you're not going to get good quality. So like all this stuff that's happening, like you just kind of have just your memories of it.
And to the point where like 30 years later, it almost feels like it was just like a weird dream.
Right. Yeah.
It was like,
well, and it seems so fast paced and just kind of like you're not thinking about the next step. I'm just thinking of what this is going to be funny in this moment, and we're moving on and do it again. like.
And we did so many weird things. Like, we started a sub, like an anti-Aquabat band, the Sand Fleas, they're, and like, and I did that with the Aquabats. This one tour, we were the opening band, and Christian was the drummer, and Chad played guitar, and Corey played bass. He only had one string on his bass. It was a one string bass, and I sang. And seriously, we did that. And what we do is like, we would, even like when we had big shows that were sold out, I remember doing the playing the Hollywood Palladium, and the lines, all the way out the window and around the door and out around the corner, and us dressed up as the Sand Fleas protesting the Aquabats and handing out flyers about why the Aquabats are a terrible band, why you should hate them. And like we're like doing an anti-campaign, and then doing a tour with like being the opener for ourselves. And
that's so funny. I mean, that's like you're putting the effort into that, like a Disneyland ride where it's like we have to make the line fun.
We have the whole experience great, and our point of purchase was great. We always wanted to make weird merchandise that nobody ever had. I always like to talk about the live tarantulas that we used to sell.
Whoa, live tarantulas? I didn't know about this.
Which is crazy, but like Christian had a friend at a pet supply wholesaler or something, and so our house was like our apartment. It was before we got married, obviously, right? But it was like a weird pet store. We had all of these rows of tarantulas on our shelves, and we put I made a nice tarantula logo with an Aquabat sticker on top, and we didn't want to hurt the animals. We gave like care, like instructions for how to take care of your tarantula, but we also had Mr. Bonkers was our scorpion. We had a big black scorpion that was our pet that we sang about in Floating Out of Death, right? But that was a real thing. But
I had no idea there was like a real pet.
But we took those on tour. We're like selling, not just selling T-shirts, but we're selling live tarantulas, and because we had a song called Tarantula, and
that's so funny,
and that was ridiculous, and especially when like we were like. Load them in the tour bus, and we're going to Arizona, and we're selling tarantulas in Arizona, hoping people will buy them.
Wild. That's why. And I always thought Less Than Jake had like creative merch.
No, they did. I mean, they had. So we were doing tarantulas at the time. They had a bobblehead, right?
Sure, or like a Pez dispenser.
A Pez dispenser.
Yeah.
They were there. They were there, and we were like, "There." But yeah.
funny. Well,
So, but we made coloring books and all sorts of weird things that normally you wouldn't make, and that kind of took me into like where I started working for Paul Frank Industries and becoming a product designer and doing that, and then the Aquabats were kind of on the back burner for me.
Gotcha. Well, I know, and then you said like a TV show was made, and I know there was like pilots for like Buena Vista.
Oh yeah.
And stuff, and that never quite took off. But then eventually there was the Aquabats Super Show, and you were involved in the Aquabats Super Show.
Yeah, I was not as much as I wanted to be, but that was that's a longer story, I guess, because we had been pitching. I got back in '96. We were pitching the Aquabats as a TV show in '97.
Okay.
97. We made the show in 2012.
Oh, yeah.
So think about how many years that is. Like it was. I always joke that it's like it was for the children of our intended audience, right? Like we ended up making, but that was one of the things we kept pitching. It as a show. We had all these different deals. I mean, you can YouTube that for all of all, how gnarly it went, all the different development, all the different scripts, and all the different. We had this idea that like, well, Scott's hot, like we could be like the Monkees, but whatever.
Right.
Like then Death by Stereo and Radiohead and other good bands were playing different types of music. So White Stripes, and we're like, okay, we're done. See you later. But we kept going at it, and then that was the idea. So I was I had been working at Paul Frank Industries as a designer from 2000 on. I still work with Paul even today.
Oh wow, really?
But we started doing that kind of stuff, and it was all about kind of cute T-shirts and stuff, and we were like, oh, let's take our monsters that we made and do a cute T-shirt with them and see how that sells, and it was sold really well as a T-shirt. But then as we were pitching shows, it was like, well, okay, what if we had this other idea? What if we did not the Aquabats, but these cute monsters that we created? And then that's how it hit as Yo Gabba Gabba.
Okay.
And so then we were able to by cutting out that darling of the Aquabats being a superhero band, or them being they were a superhero band, but being the forefront of what we wanted to get done, we ended up creating something new that there really was a market for.
Right.
That got big enough. So then there was enough interest to make the Aquabats a show. So
we
made our dream come true.
In my mind, it's always flipped, because I watched the Super Show before watching Yo Gabba Gabba, because when Yo Gabba Gabba came out, I was in high school.
Okay.
But then 2012, I graduated high school, and then the Super Show comes out, and I was like, well, I love the Aquabats, so I'm watching that. And then it wasn't once I had kids myself, I was like, oh, you know what? I know there's an Aquabats connection with Yo Gabba Gabba, so we got all of the DVDs we could from the library, and then I was like, oh, I should have been watching this when it came, even though it's for little kids. It was aimed at, Nick Jr. audiences.
Yeah.
I still, I loved the artwork of it. I loved all the performances, you have, like, the Killers were there, and My Chemical Romance, and the Aquabats, Hot Heat. Like,
and
it was
the
just,
Agrolites.
Agrolites were there. Like, it's just endless. And then all these big guest stars.
Kim Armstrong to be
Oh, and then you have, like, Jack Black and Tony Hawk, and, like, really great show. So,
and Jack Black, like, just God bless Jack Black.
Yeah.
His wife called us up and said, "Hi, I'm Jack Black's wife. Who wants to know if he can be on your show?" And we're like, yes, you can. Yeah, and it was really funny. There was a real switch. People did not get Yo Gabba Gabba until Jack Black.
Oh, really?
And I remember even reading online, people going, "Yeah, I used to think it was weird."
Yeah.
But then Jack Black was on it. It's cool. And if you've seen the Muppet movie where they hijacked Jack Black to like get the, it's like I felt like I
Oh my
lived that
gosh,
experience.
yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that connection.
Yes.
Wow, that's funny.
Absolutely, like I lived that. I lived that. Like we got to get Jack Black to be to make our show happen, and yeah, so that happened. So.
And I used to do this bit on TikTok, and I haven't done it in a while, but I need to get back into it. And it's 6 degrees of ska-peration, and it's like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, where people would just I would just take comments, be like, give me anybody, I'll connect them to ska. And 9 times out of 10, it was like Yo Gabba Gabba was always the last step. You know what I mean?
Well, we did a real connection there. And what was cool is so many of those friends and those relationships we had in the music business or industry, you know, came from the Aquabats.
Yeah.
And Scott Schultz, my roommate way back when.
Right.
He was in a band called MG12, and they had these connections that were in the more serious vein or different type of not wacky fun stuff, but it was so to have the blend of those two come together, like those connections, like he got DJ Lance from the Rainmakers that they toured with, they played shows with, and Scott was like, you should be the host of a TV show or a kid show. Yeah. And then later he had a kid show and we made him a host. So, crazy. You know, so there's a real deep love for the ska, and you could probably thank, you know, ska for Yo Gabba Gabba, like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have done our thing, and
right.
You know, and then what was also cool was my dumb band GOGO13. Yeah, like we were able to do the "Pick It Up" song, which
was huge.
Which was it went really viral. I think it was like our number 2 next to "Party in My Tummy." When the show first came out, that was like the real hit there.
Well,
so.
you know, that song absolutely helped my kids keep their rooms clean when they were toddler age. So mission accomplished. But it was also like as soon as it started, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Of course, pick it up, and it was like it was the best. But I also, though, to be completely honest, I thought that was Christian singing because you guys have similar voices.
And, you know, that's really funny too. And so with the hype of Yo Gabba Gabba and that was a real job. It was a whole different thing. Yeah. And then the Aquabats get made. Yeah. We were doing that simultaneously. We were doing Yo Gabba Gabba in the day, and we were doing the Super Show at night. So they're doing these night shoots. Yeah. And it was crazy. And most everybody, like a lot of the crew, a lot of the people that were involved in Yo Gabba Gabba were in it because they were Aquabat fans. Yeah. They were in it because they wanted to make that happen. I was in Yo Gabba Gabba because I wanted to make the Aquabats a thing. Right. And we kind of had to split the crew a little bit. We had to divide us up to different crews. So I had involvement in every episode of the Super Show, but much more limited than I wanted to be because I was drawing cartoon, animals for Yo Gabba Gabba at the time, and I so wanted to be the professor character on the Super Show. Super Show, sure. And I only became it was only a real cameo, which is kind of a bummer for me, but
totally.
But I get it, and the reason why I get it now, looking at it objectively, I had a cameo where I did the professor voice, but I was cartoon. Oh, right, yeah. Watching that show, you think that's Christian's voice. You don't even think it's me. Right. Like I didn't think I watched it and I thought it was Christian's voice. I'm saying the battle tram or whatever. Yeah. And I get it. Like maybe there's too like. The Jacob's resemblance was too strong. Well, and
I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things because you grew up with it. You don't hear it as close. But it wasn't until I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago when I was like, oh, that's not Christian singing. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
That's funny.
And then who else? You had Alex Desiree from
Desiree, Alex, from Hepcat.
Yeah, which is like another crazy cool thing you get to have on a kid show is have Hepcat. So it's insane. And I also didn't find out about that connection with like Boy Meets World until like not that long ago too.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. He was a movie star and a TV star and Hepcat's, super traditional ska. Yeah. Probably my favorite ska band. So anyways, I love them so much. And I was able to do album covers for them and stuff. Yeah. But I still have that like I'm not worthy of thing around them, and I got him and Greg to do a song for me for this Goon Holler thing that I was doing in 2020, and
so that's so special now.
And it's so special now because Greg's passed away, and I just love him, and I'll miss him, and I don't know. It's still amazing. I still can't believe it.
Yeah, that's so cool.
So for the Pick It Up, we got Alex to do it, which was so awesome. But we originally approached Prince Buster to do it.
Oh, really? Whoa. To go rude boy and rude girl.
Yeah, we wanted him to do that because
so
it's a knockoff of Prince Buster. He wrote that whole Judge Dredd stuff, and of course, I went to I don't know. He didn't call us back, or he wasn't whatever. It didn't work. It wasn't working with him. Yeah. And then I went to the next phase of ska. I went to Neville Staple.
Oh yeah, really?
And he said he'd do it.
Yeah.
But he was slacking. He didn't come. He didn't deliver. Man. When we. I'm like, no.
He was the obvious next choice for you've been in charge of smashing your girlfriend's property. Right.
Yeah, straight up specials, knocking off Prince Buster. So we couldn't get him, and so we only had a couple of days. Who can we get? Because we originally had our bass player Grick do it, and Christian's like, no, we got to get somebody that's that's got some clout. Sure. And I'm like, okay. so Alex came and did it for he pretty much nothing. He pretty much did it for nothing.
That's awesome.
Just as a rad favor, and he says it's one of these things that he's really proud of because
I feel it's very rewarding. You get a lot out of that.
But dude, he did such a solid for us, you know. And it kind of makes us feel okay. My stupid garage band out of St. George, Utah. Yeah. We got a song with Alex Stays There, dude.
On national
with the Hepcat dude, I went national, so it's so weird how you can make your dreams come true or whatever, but in the weirdest, unpredictable way. Totally. So we did that. So GOGO13 happened, but I can back up and talk a little bit about that. Yeah.
Well, because like you said, that EP never came out, and then you have the one album and the live EP and stuff, but the album says 2012 everywhere I see that streaming, and so way later.
So we kept going. We'll put that out maybe we'll write new stuff, but the Aquabats had in 2019. No, sorry, 2019. In 1999, we were going to do a cadet summit, and the Aquabats had promised the cadets a new a free record.
Okay.
And we weren't able to deliver until 2020, or not 2020, 2000. I got to get my numbers straight. Till 2000, okay. We weren't able to deliver this new record. Till then, they were on tour, and we didn't have enough Aquabat recordings to make it happen. Yeah. Christian said, go make it happen.
Oh, cool.
And I'm like, okay, well, I'll take some of those old recordings from GOGO13. I'll take some of these old recordings from the Aquabats, and some of them we'll say they're different bands. We're making our fake compilation, and then we'll get our other friends that we're touring with, and it was called the Rice Capades sampler or whatever, which is the Horchata Records. Yeah. And that was a gift that we gave out to our fans. But then we were going to do a show, I don't know, next year or something, to promote that as something that we could sell. And we couldn't get the Aquabats, but we needed a headliner. And so we're like, okay, maybe we could put GOGO13 back together. Yeah. And do a reunion show or something. We did that, and it sold out because you have these diehard Aquabat fans that know Idiot Box came from GOGO13. Right. That's all they know about GOGO13. Yeah. That's all they need to know about GOGO. All right. We were not so good, but that song it really did us well. The Aquabats put on 3 of their albums, right? Yeah. And so at least it put our name there. But what happened was so I put together a new band in California because those other guys did their own things, and I wasn't living in Utah anymore, and so that show, it just sold out. All of our merch sold out. It was just pow. Yeah. Then we did another show. It sold out. Again, nobody knows any of our music. They just know the Aquabats.
Right.
So we were like the poor Aquabats, like the poor guy's Aquabats, right? Poor man's Aquabats. So yeah. So the next, I don't know, three, kept having sellout shows, no album, no record. I was working for the Aquabats and for Paul Frank Industries. Uh-huh. It was like a bowling night. It was a side gig. I was raising I was married and I was raising my daughter at the time, and like I didn't have time to really invest in GOGO13. But every time we played, like, we had a really good following, really supportive fans. Even so much that, like, in 2009, we did Warped Tour. I think we were the first band the only band I know of that toured. We did this ska parade West Coast shows. Yeah. We up the coast. We had no album to sell. We did not sell a record. And so we kept putting it off. Like okay, well, we can break up when we put out the album.
Just go full Operation Ivy with it.
Right. So yeah. And then we did finally put it out in 2012. And then we were going to do a follow-up album the next year. It was going to be called Triska Deca Gogophobia.
Oh, dude.
So cool.
Do you know what the Lab Rats album is called that's coming out? What? Triska Decaphobia.
Oh, awesome, right?
That's what it is.
So yeah, fear of the number 13.
And it's ska in it.
But yeah, so Triska, so that's what I was thinking it would work. It was 2013. Yeah. Triska Deca.
Yeah, okay, I get you.
Gogo, Triska, yeah. Anyways, it was like
hilarious.
We almost put it out, but we didn't. It didn't come together.
Maybe it'll be a 2033 thing.
Yeah. Who knows now that I live in Idaho, but it's funny because the original other singer, Dustin Bladd, lives 3 minutes away. He lives just right up the street. Yeah,
that's so cool.
And so we hang out, we talk music. I'm really hungry to do another project or something here, but it's super fun that, like, just the idea that like you could just do something and it happens and make it a thing. It was my stepdad. He had a surf band in the 60s. Okay. And he always told me this story about how they won the Battle of the Bands on television. Yeah, okay. They were on television, and the winner of the Battle of the Bands got a record. They could record studio time to record their own record. Yeah. And I was like, well, where's the record? I want to see it. Like, you know. And he was like, well, we just wanted to win the Battle of the Bands. And I'm like, but where's the record? I want to dust it off and go, oh, look at your...
this is my dad's
look
band.
At you, yeah. Look at you, you're all skinny and you have a bad haircut, you know, like, look at you in those bell bottoms or whatever, you know, like, and I think it was just the fact that he only had a memory, and he didn't have something solid. That's what made me want to pursue GOGO13, and that's like, gotta have a thing. I want a thing to make a thing, and I don't know. We did that. Yeah. So.
I mean, and it's a great album. I listen to it all the time. I love that record.
Oh, thanks. I mean, I can't listen to it now because it's just like, well, I could have done we could have done this, we could have done that. We tried something weird on this song, but you know, then we had that live album that we released. GOGO13 Goes to Hollywood. Anywhere you can find it on Spotify or anything. So we just put that out.
Idiot box is on there.
The live idiot box, yeah. we really wanted to at least have that out there. Yeah. Just the fact that you've got the Aquabats have Idiot Box on 3 different albums, right? They've had on Return of Fury and their live album, and we didn't have it out there, so we just had to get at least that out there. Yeah, totally. Us playing it like the new lineup or the new lineup from 2002 or whatever, from 20 years ago. Yeah. But it was fun. It's been fun. Still playing. Whenever we can.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of live videos from the last few years. My buddy Chris Grau has a bunch of videos.
Yeah, I remember he said he wanted to shoot a video for us like years
Yeah.
ago.
Oh yeah, that sounds like Chris.
And
Yeah.
I wonder if that offer's still on the table. Like,
Well, he's offered to shoot videos for me, so we could double up, you know, because GOGO13's a Boise band now. So,
that's
you know
right.
what I
I
mean?
guess so. Why not? Because
So-
we were a Utah band, then we're
now you're a Boise band,
so-
and I'm gonna do everything I can to keep GOGO13 going.
sure. Why not? Okay, let's do it.
I'm trying to get that scene popping off in Boise. You know, it's
Love that.
we gotta do something about it. So maybe
All right.
maybe Chris can help. We'll see.
Okay, sure. No, yeah, he's a good buddy, and he knows. He even knows my daughter. Like,
really?
he's because
He knows everything.
does photographer and stuff, and my ex-wife and him, they would do live photos together. They would shoot live photos, and my daughter would be a photo tech. What do you call it? Like assistant, a photo assist. She would photo assist, and so she knows Chris from that.
Oh, that's funny. He was the very first guest on the show.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah. He's
Awesome.
a good guy.
Yeah.
But all right, that's about an hour. We could absolutely do this again. Now that you're right up the road. But
dude.
No, that's perfect. I loved everything about it. So I'm gonna do just a little outro, and then we'll call it a night this time.
Okay.
This
great.
time.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you so much for listening to the Ska Mailman podcast. Give us a like and a review, 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Comment, follow, share, do all the things you're supposed to do. Helps out a ton, a lot more than you would think. And follow me on all of the socials at the Ska Mailman. Check out my band Lab Brats, LABBRATS.
I mean it.
Yeah, it's true. The Ska Mailman Holiday Mosh, a Skaladay playlist full of punk, ska, reggae, folk, metal, emo, everything you can think of, all holiday songs. The Ska Mailman Holiday Mosh. This show is part of the Never Phase Network. If you want to follow Never Phase Network on everything, it's Never Phase Network. If you're into band deep dives, scene nostalgia, creating a healthier and safer space, or just screaming the words to your favorite songs at the top of your lungs, Never Phase Network is the place for you. Follow along neverphasenetwork.com for other content creators and podcasts, all sorts of good stuff. Parker, thanks so much for letting me in your home and having this chat. It was amazing.
Dude, let's do it again.
Absolutely. All right.
All right.
We'll see you next time.